I'm quite a light sleeper and I wake up quite a few times in the night. Sometimes random thoughts just pop into my head. And last night I woke up and I realised that yesterday was Vlogtober Day 12 and I'd been waffling on about my 12 cast-ons of Christmas. And that kind of made me smile and I chuckled to myself and went back to sleep. Morning! Welcome to Vlogtober Day 13. It's Sunday here today, so I won't be brushing my hair or getting dressed if I can get away with it. So you'll have to hang out with me today, looking super scruffy and messy, but you know that anyway, don't you? James is happily ensconced downstairs playing on his Xbox. We have no plans for the day, so I'm just hanging out in my craft room, contemplating what I might get up to today. I've got some yarn that I really want to wind up to hopefully start my crochet cushion project that I'm itching to get onto. And I'm going to catch up with a little bit of journaling. I've got yesterday's Vlogtober entry to do, and I've also started my next journal page, so I might show you that as well. Yesterday I was chatting quite a lot about the 12 days of Christmas, and that's really all I chatted about. So I was raiding my rubber stamp collection to see if I had any Christmassy stamps, and I didn't have anything overtly Christmassy, but I have found this set from Paper Artsy that I haven't even used, but it's got this sort of line of decorative, almost like they reminded me of Christmas baubles, so I thought I'd stamp that onto day 12 and have a bit of fun colouring those in. I had a phone call from James's gran this morning to say that unfortunately I had been given the wrong information about her foot size, so the socks that I knitted her don't fit. They're too small, which is a bit of a pain. So I'm going to start a new pair of socks for her. The socks that I've made hopefully will fit James's mum, so they won't be entirely wasted, and if not, then I know at least one person here whose feet they do fit, because she tried them on for me, so they will find a home. But it does mean that I'm going back to square one on those bed socks, but that's okay. I always knew that that was a possibility. So yeah, those are the sorts of things I'm thinking about for today. Starting a new pair of bed socks, getting a bit of journaling done, and maybe starting a new crochet project. I'd also like to divide up some fibre for spinning, so we'll see how far I get, and hopefully we can make a slightly longer video than the last couple, as I've got a bit more time today. So yeah, buckle in, we might be in for a long ride. Apologies for the weird angle. I'm still having problems with the tripod moving around. I haven't been able to come up with a fix for that yet. I'm making so many mistakes in this journal. You think I'd learn by now. I have tried to stamp that bauble stamp and it just made a right old mess. It went over into this panel, and I thought I was going to cover up both panels, but I've decided just to leave it. I've kind of rescued this one. It looks really scruffy in this little corner here. But I'm doing the thing which I mentioned before a few days ago, where I've cut out a new panel to go over the top of this one. I've already stamped the baubles image on top. Basically, one of the issues was these rings were getting in the way of the length of the stamp, so I should have been a little bit more careful again. But I think I've kind of rescued it. Yeah, good job I'm not being very precious about this journal. I thought I'd show you the start of the next page in my journal. So I've started with a single page, and I marked off a section of that page with some washi tape, and I've got my October goals list down the side here. And on this side of the page I am going to use this to document the crochet that I get done through October. So as you can see, I've put a title in with some of the stamps that I bought last week, and I've sketched out one of the Babette sort of solid granny squares that I have been making. I just grabbed one of the squares and then roughly painted it in the same sort of colours. Now that that's dry, I'm just grabbing a soft sketching pencil. I've got a 6B, just to outline some of the detail, because that got a little bit lost once I watercoloured over the top of the square. So I've got my representation of my granny square. It's not great, but it'll do, and I'll just put a little bit of text beside it just to document what I've done in October and how I've met my goal. Ludi, what are you doing up there? Enough journaling for today. You might have seen we had a quick break for brunch as well, which was yummy. I sent James out in the rain to go and buy bacon. Sorry to all you vegetarians out there. I am going to wind up some yarn for my crochet project now, and I've also got on the little top in front of me some projects that I've been working on this week that I want to take a few photos of. This is a little bit of a cheat insight to my world, I tend to have a little bit more time at the weekend, as I think probably lots of us do, so I quite often try and take a few photos and have them ready so that I got things to post about on Instagram through the week. So yeah, I'm going to do that now as well. The light's a little bit crazy at the moment. It's been raining, but there's also some bright sunshine out there, so I might have to wait for the sun to go behind some clouds till I've got some sort of nice natural light and not glaring sunlight and lots of shadows before I can get my photos. No matter where she is in the house, as soon as she hears the sound of the ball winder, she comes running. On a complete tangent, while I was stood winding yarn, I came across these two photos that I've had hanging around for ages. This one is of my mum when she was a little girl, and for some reason she's with a sheep on a beach. I have no idea what the story is behind that, and unfortunately my mum passed away over 10 years ago now, so I can't ask her. And then this one is of my nan and granddad. This is me as a little baby, and so I thought it's high time these went in frames and went up on the wall. And I've got these two really cheap frames that I picked up from Tiger that should do the job. Many of you will recognise my orange wall from the backdrop of a lot of my videos, and I am gradually adding to this wall with lots of precious things. So up in the corner I've got my sheep breeds poster, which is a piece of artwork by Katie Green. And then I've got my spinners print from the Rose Witchery, and then on this side I've got some hangings that I made, and also things that have been gifted to me. It's time to add some more precious things to this wall. What could be more precious than some photographs of people that are loved and no longer with us. 3 o'clock and I'm hanging out in my kitchen. I meant to be having a bash at making some gluten-free Yorkshire puddings. It'll be the first time we've tried it. But before I get to the baking, I am going to do something much more important with my kitchen scales, and that's to weigh out the next lot of fibre ready for spinning. That way I'll have my fibre sorted, some yarn newly wound, got plenty of knitting projects on the go, so I can then spend the rest of the day just relaxing with some sort of fibre-y goodness. I've got this big bag of little fuzzlings, which I believe were dyed by fondant fibre. I purchased these on D-Stash, and if you remember, I'm trying to spin them up into 50 gram or so hanks. My first spin is done, so I just needed to weigh out some of these. All I've been doing for the first lot, I just grabbed a few of these and weighed them and just matched up 3 of these bumps that weighed roughly the same, and spun those up. So that's what I'm going to do now. So that turned out to be a much quicker job than I thought. The first 3 out of the bag, 2 of them weighed 15 grams and 1 weighed 16. So it'll be slightly less than my 50 gram goal, but I'm just going to go for it. After all that hard work, I reckon it's time for a proper brew and a bit of a treat. For anyone interested, the Yorkshire puddings are a bit of a disaster, really. They haven't risen, and yeah, they look pretty poor, but I had a little nibble on one and it wasn't the worst thing I've ever tasted.